If you ever had a case in court and you ask the question, why is my case not moving forward? Why so much delay? Well, this video is for you. Now, there's a popular saying that justice delayed is justice denied. That happens to be the case. But what really is the cause of delay of court proceedings? Now, in this video, I'm going to explain to you a very basic term, bringing to bear all the practical things I've observed over the years as to why court cases delay a lot in Ghanaian courts. And I believe that you would understand the people behind these delays. There are 8 categories of persons that are behind the delays in court proceedings. I will expose all of them so you know. And next time you are having to deal with a court action, you know that these are the real people behind the delays. I'm Ghanaian Selassie Dakpo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal. Hello, my name is Ghanaian Selassie Dakpo. I'm a lawyer in Ghana, and on this channel I explain Ghanaian law to everyone to understand in a very simple term. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and do like our video and share it as well. So we want to look at 8 persons who are responsible for delays in court in Ghana. The first category of persons who are responsible for delays are called court bailiffs. Those guys, they are one of the main reasons why we have delays in court. You have a case in court, whether it's a land matter, a debt recovery matter, an issue about the forfeit of human rights, these guys would be the one in charge of service of all court processes. And when I talk about court processes, I'm referring to the writ of summons, statement of claim, the defense, the motions, everything you filed in court. They're the ones who ensure that it is served on the other side. And if there's no service, there cannot be any hearing. If they have not served the other side, the court cannot do anything. Because it's important that a party who you have a claim against is always aware of the claims you have against the person. So when you file a process in court, the other side must be served. And those who serve the processes are the bailiffs. And sometimes you see these guys walking about, they have a lot of the processes that they have to serve in their bags, and they take it home. For weeks and months, they don't serve them. You know what they do? They wait for you as a lawyer or party to reach out to them and tell them that, don't you have this process with you to serve for this matter? And you tell you, yes, counsel, I do. I have that process. Why are you not serving it? Counsel, I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow they won't go. They are waiting for you to give them money to go and serve that process. Meanwhile, when you are filing the process, you actually pay for service fee. And they have a system in place where they're supposed to have a portion of that money given to them to take care of the service fee or the cost of service. But they still expect you to pay them money so that they can serve. And until you pay them the money, they may not serve the process. Or until someone else pays the money and they are going to the same law firm or the same direction to serve the person's process, then they will go with your process. That is what they do. And that caused a lot of delays. They are responsible. Lawyers will come from Kumasi to Accra only to be told by the judge that there is no service of the process. Or the other lawyer will say that, well, I've not been served with the motion you filed. Counsel will be so surprised and be wondering why the process will not be served as soon as it is filed by the lawyer. So this is important. Now, another angle of it is that after they are done serving the process, they have to fill a form which we call proof of service, which is an evidence that the process was legitimately or lawfully served on the party that it ought to be served on. If they don't do proof of service, the judge will not have any evidence on the docket that the process has been served. Sometimes they may actually serve the other side, but because there's no proof of service, the judge will not accept that it has been served. So there wouldn't be any business for the thing. And that can actually cause a lot of delays. And it's important that we know that these are the people responsible for delays in the court. And if you are listening to me, you should know this. You are responsible for delays in the Ghanaian court. When people have cases in court and they don't trust the process because of delays, it is you that is responsible. And as a bailiff, you have to also know your job, that when a process is filed and given to you for service, it is for service. Go get the resources from the right quarters and go and serve the process. I mean, that's the best way we can ensure that we don't experience delay. And like I mentioned earlier, when justice gets delayed, it's always appear to be denied. So let's ensure that service is effective. That court bailiffs, please take note of this and comply. The second category of persons who are responsible for court delays or delays in court proceedings are court clerks, the administrative officers employed by the court. When you go to the courtroom, We see them sit in front of the judge. In front of the judge. They are the court clerks. They have court recorders and the court clerk. They sit in front there. Those guys control the life of the case. The docket is only brought to the judge by those people. If they don't bring the docket to the courtroom, the judge cannot do anything. And the lawyers who have traveled all the way to the courtroom can do nothing. And the parties who have come because they have a case in court and it's scheduled to be called today cannot do anything because the court clerk decided not to go for the docket from the docket session and bring to the courtroom. Sometimes they also do not put the cases on the course list, even though the judge says that the case should be called today. They fail to put that case on the course list. So what will happen? If parties come to court, they realize that their case is not on the course list, so it cannot be called. The judge would also not have the opportunity to read the file before the day it is scheduled to be called. So there will certainly be no business for the day. And guess what? The case may have to be adjourned to several months away or several weeks away just because the court clerk fails to ensure that the case is placed on the course list as scheduled by the judge, or the docket is brought to the courtroom as it should be. It is important. And these are the reasons why we experience delays. The court clerks. If you are a court clerk listening to me, I am accusing you of also being part of the reason we experience delays in court. Now, WhatsApp as an app has been in the system for some time now. But could you believe it that some court administrative officers or court clerks have just started using WhatsApp to communicate to lawyers about the availability of a judge for particular dates in court? Can you believe it? It was as recent as last year or somewhere 2024 that some of the court clerks, with the permission of the judges, have started creating a WhatsApp group for lawyers who have a case in a particular court. Why has it taken us so long? You are in charge of a process of administering justice, and your role is to be a clerk and ensure that everything is done well. If the judge will not come to court, there should be a system in place where lawyers get to be aware before the day it is scheduled to come off. Parties must be communicated to. It is now we are trying it. That explains why we always have delays. And these delays also cost resources, also cost money to the clients. They cost the lawyers a lot of time and energy preparing for court. So court clerks, please, repent from your sins and attend to your roles dutifully and as required by the law. The third people I think are responsible for delays, with all due respect to them, are presiding judges. A judge who sits in a particular case or in a particular matter is also part of the reason we have delays. You know how they delay? You are the one in charge of adjournments. You are the one in charge of rulings and signing them. When you issue orders, you sign the orders. Sometimes you will go to court and then that is the day the judge will send a message at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock that he will not be able to come. We are human beings. We all have emergencies that come without our notice. So when such things happen, we'll always have to communicate it and it will be an emergency. But there are many instances where I believe strongly that our judges could do better. They could actually inform their clerks to send notices across to lawyers and parties ahead of time of their unavailability so that everybody save themselves time and save their resources. So judges are responsible when parties are choosing dates in court. Sometimes lawyers impress upon the judge to choose a particular date that will favor them or favor their calendar because, they want to be available before the case is called, which is justified. But sometimes the judge must also be firm and ensure that cases do not get dragged unnecessarily or unnecessary long days are not proposed for adjournment. It is a duty of the judge, and I believe strongly that if presiding judge also take care of their court and manage it efficiently, some of these delays could be avoided. There are instances where you have a case that is scheduled for January 2026, and you go to court on that day, the judge will not be sitting. The judge only sent a notice to the clerk to inform all the lawyers that he will not be coming or she will not be coming to court around 9:30 when lawyers have been there since 8:30 a.m. So already time is wasted. People actually come from far and near just to attend court. And guess what? Sometimes when that date is no longer available, the next available day is taking you some 3 months into the future or 4 months into the future. And what does that cause to parties? Delays. So I am saying that court bailiffs, court clerks, and presiding judges are three people who are responsible for delays in court proceedings, most often than not. The third reason we see a lot of delays in our court system is because of transfers and promotion of judges. Sometimes, legitimately so, judges get transferred from one court to another, or they have to be promoted to a higher court. When that happens, it takes a while before the court, gets a new judge who comes and starts sitting. While the new judge even comes to start sitting, the cases that are already at the trial stage and they've started trial, the new judge will have to sort of get the clerk to print all that they have done, the record of proceedings, and go through them and ensure that everything is well as it happened before she or he came to join the case. And if that becomes the case, you realize that things will delay and the parties would have to sort of continue from where they left off. And the truth is that the first judge did not actually see the parties give you the evidence and observe their demeanor. All that you have access to is a written record of proceedings, which is going to be corrected by way of adoption. This is one of the areas where we see a lot of delays. And as it is now, judges have been transferred to many other places. Some of them are sent to Volta region. Some of them are brought from Volta region to Greater Accra. Some of them are actually promoted to High Court or to Circuit Court or to the Court of Appeal or to the Supreme Court. When that happens, we experience of delay. It is a structural issue that may happen from time to time. But sometimes how we get to control it, how we efficiently replace them where they are gone, is where the problem is. It takes sometimes about 4 or 5 months before a new judge will take over a court that the judge who was there before was promoted to a higher court. It takes about 3 months, sometimes even more. Sometimes what the judicial service does also is to bring a judge from another court to come and be assisted. So that judge comes to sit in the court that the judge has been promoted for at least 2 times in a week or 2 days in a week. But 2 days in a week can hardly do much. Remember, he or she has to be at her station also. And she has to be at the new station also. So she has 2 courts now and she's alone. There are some instances where judges have about 3 courts and they're handling it all alone. And they do that for like 4 months or 5 months or 3 months before a new judge gets appointed or promoted to man some of these courts. And the result becomes delay. And the parties suffer. They waste their time, they waste their resources, they complain that the courtroom is not efficient, the delivery of justice is not properly managed, it's not achieving the best result, it's not giving them the result they want in a democratic dispensation. And these are legitimate concerns. We must ensure that administration of justice avoid delays so that parties can have confidence in the court system. The 5th class of persons who are responsible for delays in the courts are the opposing lawyers. Lawyer for the defendant. And as a lawyer for plaintiff, you can also be a lawyer for the defendant in a different case. Sometimes when people are dragged to court, they often do not like it. Nobody likes it, of course, to be sent to court. So sometimes that not liking it attitude make them to tend to delay the proceedings so that the other side who has sent the case to court will develop some fatigue and abandon the case along the way. When that happens, the defendant is the one who has won technically because he or she doesn't want the case to go on and it has not gone on. So he's happy. So the defendant's lawyer, who is representing the defendant, often may be agreeing to only adjournment that are far away, that are not too close, that are beyond 2 weeks so that it favors the defendant. Because after all, he's there to protect the interests of a party he's representing. So those class of lawyers, the defendant counsels, most often than not, they're the ones who play important roles. Sometimes all lawyers are parts. Lawyers are given orders to file a process. They will not file the process because they are busy with many other cases. They wait for a very long time, a day to the court appearance. That's when they will file the process. Some of them actually file it the morning of the court appearance. And when they do that, what happens is that process they file in the morning will not be served on the other side. The judge will not have it on the docket. So nothing will happen for the day. And who causes delay? The lawyer. The lawyer for the party. So lawyers also play an important role in ensuring that delays take place in the justice system. I mean, they are an important part of the whole process. If they want to avoid delays, they can always avoid it. Some cases deserve to be settled by negotiation. But lawyers, because they want the matter to be in court so that they can continuously represent the party, they might not be so inclined to explore settlement, which is very bad. Which is very, very bad. You must always give settlement a chance if it's possible and it's workable. This is why lawyers also are there to assist the parties to understand the need to settle and why and how they can settle and get the best offer for everyone. But if we don't do this, sometimes the case will be in court for many years and a lot of things get affected. The parties often get disappointed in the delay, and at the end of the day, they lose hope in administration of justice. But like I said, sometimes justice hurried is justice buried. So it is not always the truth that when they are delaying the proceedings, justice will be denied. Sometimes when they are hurrying the proceeding, justice may be buried. The sixth reason why cases delay in court is unnecessary amendments. You know, every party has a right to amend their processes when they are in court. So if you file a writ of summons and something happens along the way, or you've forgotten to add something that you needed to add, or you omitted to add something very important, you can amend the writ to include that important fact. Now, once you amend the process, you have to serve the other party, and he will also have to respond to your amended process. So that takes all of you back to square one. You're going to start afresh again with the process. It's like amended writ is now served, you file amended defense, and everything has gone back. So that also causes a lot of delays in the courtroom. These things appear like they cannot be avoided, but truthfully, they can always be managed properly to minimize the extent to which we experience delays in the courtroom. Number seventh reason why cases delay court a lot is because of the rules of court. Sometimes the rules of court spell out timelines that are not realistic or that are too long a time for parties to do things. The rule may say that you should enter appearance within 8 days. I mean, once a party is served, the party can actually enter appearance within 2 days or 3 days because entering appearance is not a big deal. I mean, you certainly need time to have conference with your lawyer and prepare yourself and all of that and decide whether you generally want to take the case and all. But I think 8 days is quite a long time to be ready to enter appearance. So sometimes there are more timelines provided by the rules, which are too long, and they oftentimes create avenue for delays. And that is another reason we experience delays in court proceedings. Now, the last reason, and certainly not the least of all, is the lack of technological equipment in the courts. In a lot of these, our courts don't use technology that much. You don't use technology at all. You don't incorporate technology in the management of the administrative works of the courts. In 2026, the judge still writes at a dictation pace. So when you are speaking as a lawyer who have prepared your argument and you are ready to fire all your points like a bullet, you have to be speaking one by one, like you are dictating to students in a classroom. So you have to say one and keep quiet, and the judge have to write it down. Then you see another one, the judge writes it down. Sometimes you have arguments to make and they are about 3 pages or 5 pages, and you have to say it one by one because the judge is writing it down with her pen or his pen. What happens to speech to text in our age? Can't we just speak and the system automatically records it down and is edited later and proofread and printed and signed? Why has it taken us so long to embrace such a technology or device? There are some courtrooms where you go to, they don't even have a computer that they use to record. If they do, maybe only one that the recorder uses to type the handwritings or the notes of the judge. Why wouldn't there be delays? The judge gives an order which must be ready tomorrow for the parties to pick. The clerk or the recorder is now going to take the judge's book and one by one type it. Sometimes judges will not have the best of handwritings. They will not have the best of handwritings. But you have to struggle to see that handwriting and type it. When you're done typing, they'll proofread it. And when they are available, they will sign before you get your order and go and have the ability to serve it, the ability to keep it and be doing his own things with it. Before you know it, the bill did not serve on time. You come to court, it was not served, even though it was ready from the judge and the court recorder. So we need to embrace technology in our court system if we'll achieve efficiency. And this is one of the major sources of delay. Sometimes a case is being called for parties to just introduce themselves and their lawyers to introduce themselves, for the judge to simply say that we will not do any pieces today because there's no proof of service. And that would take like 10 to 15 minutes. Why? Because the judge is writing everything. The judge has to write the title of the case, the time the case is being called, the parties present, and the parties will have to spell their names to the judge. And the judge will have to write it down, and the lawyers will do the same thing. So there will certainly be delay. And these delays affect justice delivery and efficiency and the trust of people in justice administration. So next time you have a case in court and it's not moving forward, it's delaying and things are slow, You are wondering what could be the cause. Don't just blame your lawyer, or don't just blame the judge, or don't just blame the court system as a whole, but blame these individuals. They are the ones responsible for delays in our court systems. If you enjoyed this video, you want to give us a like and share it with someone. And also, if you're yet subscribed to the channel, please do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, be part of the family, put out some post notification so that when we share our next video, you'll be notified of it and you get to watch it and share it. I'm Ghanaian Selassie Dakpo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal.